Hello and welcome back to the Monday Night Football Lions vs. Ravens DFS Breakdown. Think we got a real fun one for DFS tonight, and we're going to dive into it. But before we do, I'm your host, Tyler Weeman, and come join us at LINESTAR. One-stop shop. You get access to the app's website for all the sports we cover for one low price of $39.99 per month. And if you've never tried us out before, come try us out. We do have a free trial option. Go to the app stores, download us, come to the website, and try us out there. Now let's dig into it. And we're going to start off by a little game overview. Now we got a big time 53.5 game total. Vegas expects a ton of scoring in this one, and I have to agree with them. Both defenses are decent, but both defenses can definitely get beat, and I love this spot for both teams. Think there is absolutely one of those outlier games where it's like 30-40 or something like that, possibly on tap. I think that is in the range of outcomes with this game. Now, NFL is always hard, so we could have a 21-17 slugfest where both teams are absolutely going at it. But I do think the most likely situation is we're going to the upside here. Injury-wise, both teams are pretty healthy. Ali's going to go. The offenses, I should say, at least are a little healthy. Both teams do have some defensive injuries today, but offensively, looks like we're good to go. Now, let's get in. We're going to go position by position here and break it down, starting with the quarterback spot. We got Lamar Jackson on DraftKings at 11.8K. We got a projection of 25.45. The consensus is 23.17. I think Lamar is in an absolutely great spot today, and he is probably going to end up being my primary captain or MVP. I think the upside for him today is just huge. One of the things we got to consider here is the Detroit Lions will bring pressure and they'll play a lot of man. What that ends up giving Lamar the ability is just for more scrambles. And when he's getting it going with his legs, he does have that chance to get 100 yards rushing. I mean, it's not going to happen often, but he can. He does have that ability. He bangs one in on the ground, and you're looking at needing him to be a captain. Another thing is he generally does spread the ball around a little bit. So that just makes it less likely that one wide receiver as a pass catcher will be the guy you had to have at that captain spot. I think Lamar's in a great spot. Detroit defense allowing 273 yards per game to the quarterback for passing yards over the last 9. They're obviously going to have to throw the ball with 53.5 game total. Now we get over to Jared Goff, 9,400. We only have a 16.76 projection for him. Consensus is 17. He is much lower owned, and he should be. Now, unlike Lamar, Jared Goff is not a captain pick for me. I am not going to have much of him in, or if any, in the captain or MVP spot based on which site you're playing on. Jared Goff is a great quarterback. I definitely like him. I definitely think he can have a great game, but he needs to have one of those 4 touchdown performances where everybody gets a touchdown type performance for him to be the guy, and that's my one worry. Can he have that type of performance? Yes, but I do believe his ownership will be a little bit too high at the captain spot to warrant really going there when it's such an outlier outcome. So therefore, I'm going to be playing Jared Goff, just not the captain. I got to shrink my player pool somewhere and somehow, and this is one of the reasons I will just not have him as a MVP option. have a little bit less. Now, Baltimore allows a ton of passing. They have actually been good over the last 9 as far as passing yards. However, over the last 4, 275.8 a game. Or sorry, that's Goff's number. Over the last 4, 252.3 per game over the last 4. So far this season, 306 a game. They've been getting gashed, and now the Ravens are also without Kyle Van Noy, who's, one of their premier defenders, an outside linebacker that can do a ton for them. Without that, this Detroit offense is going to have a much easier time. Not that it's going to be easy, but there's an easier path to success for them. But Goff's been good all season, 279.5 per game as far as his passing yards, 3 touchdowns per game. There's huge upside from both QBs, and you absolutely have to consider both of them. Our team defense tool, we're starting to get some more data here. It's still only 2 games we can go off. I really don't love using it too much until we're at more 4 games. The team defense tool is like DVOA, but we have a 4-game rolling average with it. And that's why I say I generally like to wait. Now, it looks like it's an absolutely amazing spot for Jared Goff. So by all means, play your Jared Goff. Now, let's get over to the running back position. Starting with the high owned we got is Derrick Henry, 10.2K, 17-point projection for us and consensus. And it's King Henry. And while Detroit has been a team you don't really want to run against over the last 9 games, they are ranked 3rd. They've been a little bit better, a little bit more susceptible to the run so far this season, averaging 81 per game, 1 touchdown per game, which ranks 12th. While I think the passing game for the Baltimore is the way you probably want to go, don't totally, count out King Henry. He's King Henry for a reason. And then over the last 4, 101 yards, 1.3 touchdowns per game. Chance of a King Henry touchdown is absolutely high. I don't mind using him. We all know how great he is. I don't need to go too in-depth on that. Next, we got Jahmyr Gibbs, 10.6K, highest running back on the slate, 18-point projection from us, 17 for consensus, and Jahmyr Gibbs will absolutely be my highest owned running back. The fact is he's been used a ton in the passing game, has 13 targets, 13 receptions so far this year, and Baltimore has got gashed through the air. 8.5 receptions per game to the running back and 51.5 yards, 0.5 touchdowns. I think Gibbs can beat them in so many different ways on the ground or through the air that you got to consider him. Now, Ravens have been solid versus the ground, but Gibbs just gives you so many ways to beat them that I love the play, and I'm absolutely going to be going to him. He's had a ton of red zone work, and I think that continues tonight. And snap count wise, in that first game, he controlled the snaps. He played a ton. David Montgomery was only at like 40% snaps, and I think that's more likely how it's going to be week in and week out versus last week when it was more of a split. Versus Baltimore, I don't expect anybody to be up big, and I don't really expect a team to let off their foot off the gas just because both offenses are so high-powered. And with that, I think Gibbs is a great play pretty much in any type of game script. David Montgomery at 6,200. There's absolutely paths to success because he is so talented. He can get in the end zone, and with that, I think you can consider him, but you're really banking on touchdowns from him. He is not going to get, or very unlikely to get 20 touches so he can put up a ton of points any other way. With that, he's a very boom-bust pick, but I don't mind a little bit. He's going to go probably a little under-owned for his touchdown possibilities. Justice Hill, he is going to be out there. He is going to be playing, but there's just a very low ceiling here. He will have to get a touchdown to be optimal. And it's not that likely, but he's used a lot in the passing game. If there's more passing in this game, or if Baltimore gets down, maybe he gets a few more targets and a little bit more likely. So he is a game script dependent play. Only make sure, you're building a lineup that would follow a game script that he would play in if you're going to be using him. I'm probably not going to use much of him, but he is absolutely in the realm of playable. Now, let's get over to the wide receiver room. Our highest owned is Zay Flowers, 8,400. Absolutely love me some Zay. Zay, one of my higher wide receiver ownerships for best ball, and he's been producing. First game, 9 targets, 7 receptions for 143 yards, 2 carries, and a tutty. Then last week, another carry, 7 receptions for 75 and 11 targets. Man's averaging 20 targets a game. If he keeps getting 10 targets a game, he is going to be absolutely crushing. Over the last 4, he only averaged 6.8 targets per game. With 10 targets a game, he's over 109 yards per game. Look, this Detroit Lions D will send pressure. Zay is going to see some one-on-one, and he can absolutely get open versus any coverage, but especially one-on-one, and there's just big-time upside. So I think all of the Baltimore receivers are very interesting, especially Rashad Bateman at 4K. He is coming in at 48% owned. He's a boom-bust pick. He has giant ceiling. We see his games last year. He's getting, mid-20s, high teens. He's cheap guy with upside, but so far he hasn't been involved. I think that might make it where guys in the field are a little less likely to have him in their lineups. And with that, I like it very, very much. Taylor, DFS is daily fantasy sports. So Rashad Bateman he's in a good spot. He averages 44 yards a game, or at least he did last year. He had 8 touchdowns. There is the touchdown possibility. And then matchup wise, it's one of the better in the game, as on our team defense tool, Detroit is 22nd versus the wide receiver 2. They're also 25th versus the wide receiver 1. Just going back to that Zay Flowers talk. He's in a great spot. Both of them are. I will be using both of these guys. There's huge ceiling there. Amon-Ra St. Brown is still the wide receiver 1 for the Detroit Lions. Had an absolute giant game last week. Slow week 1, but versus a very, very good Green Bay D. I would expect him to have a fine game in this spot. Ravens will allow passing. Amon-Ra can do it all over the field, can do it so much. Taylor, thank you for coming. Very much appreciate it. And to anybody else watching, please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, do all that stuff. It helps us a ton, just improve our reach there. All in all, Amon-Ra, one of the best receivers in the game. Very few guys have 40-point ceilings. Amon-Ra has done that 3 times now in his last 10 games. So the ceiling is there. Have to consider. He is not a major priority for me, but I love the passing game of both sides. And with that, I'm going to be playing plenty of Amon-Ra. Isaac Tesla, 1.2K. Hopefully this man learns how to use both hands when he catches the ball. So far, he has 2 catches in his NFL career, both highlight reel one-handed catches. Man has 2 catches for 42 yards and a tutty. His snap counts did go way up last week, but a lot of it was in blowout run. So be careful if you're using Tesla. Tesla's a great receiver. By all means, he looks like he is going to be amazing from what we've seen. I do think he may get a little bit hyped today, and his ownership may come up a little bit higher than it really should be. He still is not playing very much. And with that, if he's coming high owned, I'm a little bit worried. So far on the season, he played 4% of the snaps week 1, 29% week 2. He played 17 snaps week 2. Now, most of that was blowout run. In the first game when they were down and trying to come back, he only played 3 snaps, 4%. So that's all I really need to get into with him. He is a boom bust pick. He has a ton of ability, but playing time is a question. Now, I mean, he's done great, and the matchup is good for him. So I don't mind playing him. He may get some extra work, but just understand we need extra work for him to really get it done. Next, we got Jameson Williams, 8K, coming in way too low owned. This Baltimore team is beatable, especially deep. If you look at our team defense tool, we have it as them as 30th versus wide receiver 2 so far in this season. Big boost to targets, receptions, yards, all of that. And Jameis doesn't need many targets. He just needs the big bomb, which can absolutely happen versus this team. And so I'm fine going with some JMO. He, man, has speed for days. He is a matchup nightmare, and I don't mind going to some Jameson Williams, especially if it's going to get allow us to get a bit different. Khalif Raymond has been the wide receiver 3. He played, wrong one. He played 54% of the snaps last week, played like 60% in week 1, but he is, what, 5th, 6th option on this offense. He is a afterthought. I don't mind throwing in him in a little bit as a low-owned pivot, but you're going to need a touchdown for him to be optimal. It's pretty much how it goes with all the low-owned guys. DeAndre Hopkins, we got to talk about him. This man has 4 targets. He's averaging 2 targets per game and has 2 tutties. That is not likely to continue. However, they have said they want to get him more work. In week 1, he played 35%. In week 2, it was 18%. I do not think the get D-Hop more work he's going to go from 18 to 50. I think he probably goes back to 35%. Maybe a little additional on top of that, but I don't think it's going to be a giant workload. We've talked about Detroit being beatable through the pass. It's pretty obvious that he is a red zone threat, and with that, you need to consider him. Tez Walker and Tylan Wallace. So Wallace had a big game. 2 receptions for 25 yards and a tutty. Also had some kick return stuff, which doesn't really help us, but he did play 50% of the snaps last week, opposed to 31% last week. He is absolutely in the rotation for these wide receivers. And then we have Tez Walker. 2 receptions, 2 targets, 2 touchdowns for 26 yards. Not too shabby. He is definitely down the pecking order, though. He did not play it all week 1. Played 23% of the snaps in week 2. It was the huge blowout too. So you got to consider that when taking a look at him. He appears to be the furthest down the depth chart, and with Wester, but I don't expect Wester to play offensively, more just special team stuff. All right, getting over to our tight end spot. Sam Laporta, according to our team defense tool, is in an amazing spot. Mark Andrews, however, is not, and has been a total no-show so far this season. Laporta is the higher owned one, but you can't you still have to absolutely consider Mark Andrews. He had a slow start to last year, very similar to this. 1 target, nothing. 1 target, nothing. 5 targets, 55. 4 targets, 66 and a tutty. 41 and 2. He is an absolute touchdown merchant, and that is where his value is from. It's making it in the red zone. If you're playing Mark Andrews, you want to probably play Lamar with him just because it is so boom bust based on that tutty. Laporta, him and JMO are the option 2 and 3 on this receiving game, or in this receiving game. So far, as far as team targets, Laporta has 13, Jamison Williams 9, Jamar Gibbs 13, and then 17 for Amon-Ra. You're talking about a 3, the 2-3 option on for the receiving game, and there's big time upside. We saw him go for 79 yards and 9 targets in the first game. Drops to 426 for Chicago, but again, a blowout. They didn't really need him, but he does bring that touchdown variance as well, so need to consider. If you want to go to caller or right, you can. Just understand they aren't going to get much work, and it is touchdown or bust. Brock Wright in the blowout got extra play last week. He has 3 targets on the year. All 3 came from last year, and he only played 36% of the snaps week 1 versus 53 week 2. So with that blowout situation, understand he, isn't going to have a big role if this game stays close. Charlie Kohler, 0 targets on the year. He is more of a blocking tight end. All right, let's get over to our defenses and our kickers. We got a tough game for either defense here. They're going to be in for it, but there is likely passing in this game. And with that, it leads to chances for your pick sixes and all that. Now, both the quarterbacks do pretty well taking care of the ball, and neither take many sacks. So there's not a ton of pass for these defenses going off, but with the extra passing does raise the chances for a pick six. Getting into the kicker spot, we got Tyler Loop. Hopefully we get a little Tyler bump here, and this guy has been very, very good so far. 4 for 4 from field goals. He's missed 1 extra point, but 2 double-digit games, and he's got a big enough leg that he can hit those long ones, and you should consider him. Jake Bates, 5,200. Hasn't been quite as good kicking, as the team has just been very efficient on offense and scoring touchdowns versus field goals, but high scoring game. These kickers should absolutely be considered, because the chance of them getting into the double digits or mid-teens is rather high in a 53.5 game total. Now, that will do it for us today, guys. I hope you guys had a great day, great morning. Let's have a fun football game, and then come join us at LINESTAR. $39.99 per month gets you access to all we do. Props, DFS, you get it all. One low price.